But I have prayed for you, Simon, that your faith may not fail. And when you have turned back, strengthen your brothers. But Simon Peter replied, Lord, I am ready to go with you to prison and to death. And Jesus answered, I tell you, Peter, before the rooster crows today, you will deny 3 times that you know me. May God add his blessing to the reading of this word. Well, here's a question, and you may have a little trouble answering this, but you may know right off. Well, where were you the day after the shootings in Dallas? What were you doing the day after those shootings? I was on vacation, so I happen to remember exactly what I was doing on that day. We were in a beautiful lake called Lake Quinault, and we went kayaking. And then we had a nice lunch, and then we ended up at another lake called Crescent Lake. And it was a lovely day, and that's what I did. And maybe you did something nice too, or maybe you were at work or at home doing the things you need to do at home. Maybe it was just an average, ordinary day for you, or maybe it was a special day. So think about this. Where were you right after the shootings in Baton Rouge? The day after, what were you doing? The day after those shootings? Well, I happen to remember I was actually now in Colorado when we were hiking. And then we went and had lunch with had dinner with my brother and his family. And it was a lovely day. Maybe you had a lovely day with your family too, or again, maybe it was an average day, or maybe you were doing something fun like fishing, or out on the lake, or playing golf. All of those things are possible. As I was thinking today about this sermon, certainly as I was thinking in these last weeks, especially the days after these 2 tragedies that occurred, especially the days after, I was thinking about the men and women who the day after these tragedies, the day after we got these terrible reminders that people that wear law enforcement uniforms were being targeted. There was this huge group of people in Dallas, in Baton Rouge, and here in Shreveport, and all over the country, who, what were they doing the day after? They were putting on their uniform. They were putting a badge on their chest or down on their belt. They were wearing their guns. They were getting in their patrol cars. They were putting on their bulletproof vests. They were getting ready to do, maybe have an uncomfortable day in the heat, to do a difficult job. What were their families thinking that day after? Police officers, law enforcement, have something in common with ministers and doctors, lawyers, CPAs, business people. Everybody really who has a job is that for law enforcement folks, there are people that are good at it and there are people that aren't very good at it. And for those people that are really good at it, excellent, they make bad choices. They make bad decisions, just like in medicine, just like in ministry. But the difference is between law enforcement and all of these other things is the courage required. The courage required by those people who do these important jobs and by their families as well. Courage is a necessity. And so I think these folks, and we can remember them as they do difficult jobs, especially in these, as they are reminded that so often this isn't the first time that police officers can be targets. They're targeted because of the uniform they wear, because of the badge that they carry. But here, after these moments, these times, these reminders, we remember particularly the courage required. And maybe we can hold them up and remember that because, in this day and age, we all need some courage. Courage seems to be a requirement in this world. It seems to be more and more a requirement. Because here in this day and age, we can make sure all the guns are taken away from a terrorist, but they can steal a truck. Or they can make a bomb out of a pressure cooker. And they can kill and maim hundreds of people. We are reminded today, and not just because of terrorists, but because of people that look a lot like me, middle-aged men who something springs loose and suddenly there's an attack and it's in a movie theater. I tell you, I cannot go to a movie theater today and not think about that, not worry about that. And it doesn't take as much courage, perhaps, as putting on a badge, but it does take some courage just to go to the movies, just to get in an airplane. This is a scary time that we live in. You know, we think, oh, well, at least we have been able to think, or at least I've been able to think. It's halfway around the world. It's halfway across the country. But then all of a sudden it's 3 hours down the road to the west and 3 hours down the road to the south, and suddenly we realize, yes, it takes courage. It takes courage. That is a requirement of living. And you know, in this day and age, it takes a particular kind of courage. As we think about these things, we remember that every time we come together in a group, yeah, we're targets. I remember after the Orlando shootings, there's a group of people in Orlando who came together, had something in common, who they were, came together, were killed because of it, and then we had, 50 killed, and then we had a candlelight vigil here downtown. And I was watching that on TV, watching the candlelight vigil on TV, and thought, well, that takes bravery right there. That takes courage for these folks to gather in this group, because, yeah, that makes them a target as well. It's so easy to start thinking of ourselves as targets today, and it's need to have courage. It is something that we absolutely require. And it's not just today. It's not just the fact that there are so many in our world today who see violence as a first try. That's what they try first for a solution. Violence isn't the last absolute thing we do. It's the first thing that is tried. It's the first thing that is done. And yes, living in a world like that, we certainly need courage. But even if our lives were calm, even if there were no incidents, we still need courage, don't we? We absolutely require courage just to live our lives. Think about the woman whose husband had passed away. And it's been a couple of years now that he has been gone, and the house, suddenly there are all these problems with the house, there's problems with the car, all these tax issues have come up, and she's realizing it is all on her. She has to do it all. She has to make sure it gets done. And what does it need? What does it require? It requires courage. There's nothing, I think, that's more required. And we need love and we need consolation. But when we lose someone we love, it takes courage to keep going. Courage to get up. Courage to think again about our future. Courage is required. What about the young man who the other day, 17 years old, the other day, he heard his group of friends making fun of him. And he thought, oh, I thought this was the one place, the one group of people I could be safe with. You know, I could say, I could be myself with. And suddenly he's heard them making fun of him. And he wonders, does he have the courage to go back to that group again? What about the woman who, boy, everybody thinks this woman, she has got it all. She's got it figured out. She's got a good job. She's got a family. She's got a home. Everything going well. Does lots of things in the community. And now nobody knows about the anxiety she always feels within her. There's this tugging anxiety that she's going to say something wrong. She's going to do something wrong. And now they've asked her to chair another committee. And she's wondering, is she going to find the courage to do it again? Courage, it's something we need. It's something Jesus talked about. This ability to have courage, to feel that courage in your life. He talked to his disciples. He would tell them what's going to happen. And his disciples would be like, easy, no problem. We're going to be with you the whole way. You don't have to worry about it. We're not worried about it. And Jesus knew. He knew it was going to be hard for the disciples. He knew they were going to fail. They were going to try to have courage, and they were going to fail utterly to have the courage that they thought that they would have. And he told Simon Peter this. I love this verse. It's so expressive. Jesus said, Simon Peter, the devil has demanded to have you so that he may sift you like wheat. You were going to be sifted like wheat. And he was right. You know, Simon Peter was going to be there in that courtyard, and people were going to be saying, hey, you know, you sound like a Galilean. You've got that Galilean accent. Didn't I see you with Jesus before? And Simon would say, nope, not me. I don't know him. Never heard of him. Don't know. Denies him 3 times. Where was Simon Peter's great courage? You know, the courage that caused him to pull that sword out when Jesus was arrested. That gave him the courage to speak up, you know, at the Transfiguration and other important moments. Where was that courage? And it just gone away. But what does Jesus say then? He says, Simon Peter, the devil's demanded to have you, to sift you like wheat, but when you come back again, strengthen your brothers. When you come back again, strengthen your brothers. You see, if we don't find the courage, or if there's some particular area in life where we haven't found it, there's some person that may be difficult in our lives that we haven't had the courage to talk to, we haven't had the courage to confront. Maybe there's a boss out there that we need the courage to be frank with. We haven't had that. Some particular area, and we have just dropped the ball in being courageous in this particular part of our lives. Well, here's Jesus saying, don't worry. Don't worry, for when you come back, you will be strong. There may not have been courage in your past, but there will be courage in your future. And this is the kind of promise that we all need. Every person in this world, we all require courage. And I tell you, we do, one source of it that we have here is this idea of Christian courage. Where does courage come from for us? Well, one place it can come from is from our faith. From our faith. Now, most of us are right in the middle of some sort of game that we're playing. You know, we're in the middle of the action of our lives. We're right there in the middle innings. And we're not sure how it's going to go. Who's going to win? Who's going to lose? Sometimes we're up and sometimes we're down. And it's easy to lose faith and to think, oh man, this game is going to go terrible. I'm going to lose this game. This game of life is going to be lost. But our faith tells us that is absolutely untrue. We are winners through Christ Jesus. We may not be up right now in the game, but we will be victorious. Right now, it may seem that sin and evil are on the rise, that the bad people are taking over. Don't you believe it? It may be difficult right now, but we will win. We will prevail. There are issues that we're facing as a people, as a society, and we've made vast improvements, great improvements, but we have so far yet to go, but we're going to get there. Why? Because sin never wins. Evil never wins. You see, you got the Bible, and I'll tell you, I've read through it many times, and spoiler alert, God wins. That's how it ends. Get to the end of the Bible, God wins. We are reunited. We are with those we love. We are with God. Everything is made right. Justice is done. And so when we face these moments in our lives that are scary, when we lose someone that we love, when something unexpected happens and the job is gone, when bad, tragic news happens around the world or next door, we can remember this, that we are absolutely with God. We are victorious. We are victorious. And that is where we can find our courage today. Courage to overcome. Courage to move forward. Courage to see our future and to see it as a hopeful, bright, wonderful place. Because with God, we are victorious. There are times I come here in the sanctuary during the week and I say a prayer, and I pray for those who I know are facing some special, particular testing in life. I pray for people who are right now protecting me, protecting my family, protecting my property. I pray for people who are in the middle of a difficult relationship. Maybe they're having trouble in their marriage, and there's a choice that they need to make there to get some help and to get some counseling. And I pray and I remember them as well. I pray for those who I know are lonely, and they feel that loneliness in their hearts. And I pray for them and those who I know are feeling like life is just unfair. Life is difficult. And I keep them in my prayers as well. And I come in here and I think about these folks and remember them. And also, I do continue to pray for those and give thanks for those who I see who keep going, who continue on, who have that courage, who show it, who keep doing the tough jobs, the people who keep on in their relationships, who keep persevering, who keep moving forward. And I remember them, and I give thanks for each and every one of them. And I remember, too, that that kind of courage is available to us all. Courage means this willingness to stick to it, the willingness to keep moving forward. And when we do that as Christians, we do it with the knowledge that as we move forward, Christ goes with us every step of the way. And my prayer for you this week, and for all of those in this world who need it, my prayer is for courage. For people who do difficult and dangerous work, my prayer is a prayer of courage and a prayer of safety. For people who are marginalized, people who are put on the edge by society, my prayer for them is courage. Believe me, they need courage. We need courage. Whenever we are put on the side, whenever we are marginalized, we need that kind of courage. I pray for those who protest and exercise their constitutional rights to protest, because that takes courage too. And friends, may we feel it as we worship here today. May we feel it as we go forward into this week ahead. May we feel the strength that God is offering us each and every day. And may we feel the courage we need to keep moving forward. Let us bow in prayer. Loving God, we do give thanks that you are with us, your presence with us each and every day. Lord, we give thanks that you lead us to still waters. And that is part of the promise, that you will help us, even in turbulent times, to find places of peace. Loving God, keep us from stirring those waters up ourselves. Keep us from finding ways to introduce anxiety and fear unnecessarily into our lives. And loving God, when the times do come that others in this world, that the forces of sin and evil stir up the waters around us, Lord, help us to feel your presence there, giving us the strength and giving us the courage we need each and every day. Loving God, help us to feel the opportunity you're going to be giving us right now as we gather around this table, to feel your strength and to feel your courage, and to have that growing sense of confidence and assurance in our lives. Lord, may the bread and the cup that we received here today, may they receive your special blessing, and may we be blessed by receiving them now. Lord, all these things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.